Hello and welcome back. We are talking about mastering the sale in this module of our course on how to get more patients and clients. And so, systems, Greg. Everybody talks about systems. Everybody talks about, systematizing my business. That's kind of one of those keywords in entrepreneurial speak. What is systemization, and what are some of those key systems that we have to master the sale?
Yeah, so in order to have things, if you want a business, all right, so to clarify the goal, it depends on what you want. Mm-hmm. So if you're someone who is excited and happy to keep doing the same task over and over again and it does fulfill you, then you don't need to do that.
Okay. Fair
but
enough.
If you're someone who's looking to grow the revenue while minimizing how much time you have to be involved, then you do have to make a system.
Right.
And
that's
so
critical.
And systems. So basically what that is this is the way I like to build mine. I'd look at it and go, it's kind of an odd question, but it works for me, which is, what do I never want to do again?
I love it. There's a ton of things like that.
And then I list out what I don't, and then I start going, who else or how else can I get this done where I have to do very minimal, if any, management of this.
I wish I could do that with patient charting. That's why I take on students, actually. No.
But
kind of.
But the thing is, it's kind of the same thought process, though, right? Making it systematic, because, like, if you want to grow and have thousands of patients, right, you can't keep doing the same things that you can do with 10 people. So the way to basically do a systematic sales system is to go, what has worked for me? Mm-hmm. How did I get these 10 clients, or 15 or 20 or 30? Yeah. And document the whole process. And then start going, okay, what parts of these can I teach someone else how to do? And could it be possible that I don't do any of it, and I teach someone else who comes in, does this whole system, and go, here's the system, it's how you do it, let's role play, okay, now you're off to the races.
Perfect. Oh, yeah. And that saves so much effort and just stress and strain, right? If you can make sure that you've offloaded those things to somebody else that can do, let's face it, some of the tasks in marketing or some of the tasks in business are really mundane.
Well, let me actually, you lead me into a point that I tell some of my clients, which is, a lot of times as business owners, entrepreneurs, marketers, salespeople, we overestimate our importance. Because we're so tied into it.
Right.
And so we think there's no one else in the world who could possibly enter that name into that spreadsheet, but like I do. No one does that like I do, right? And you overestimate your value in certain tasks. And
absolutely.
The other thing is you then undervalue the tasks that you actually are good at that make the most impact. So it's a mindset shift.
Well, and you wind up, so that's a concept that I think is super important. Stop, I bill out for hundreds of dollars per hour, right? So like, if I'm normally collecting $150 per patient visit, then why am I wasting time doing $10 or $15 an hour work? Right? Yep. If I can spend more of my time doing those things that either get butts in the door or treat those butts once they come in the door, then I'm making more money. If I spend my time doing those $10 or $15 an hour things, what a waste, right? And so I wind up getting caught up in the thick of thin things, right?
Exactly.
That kind of concept. So stop paying yourself $15 an hour for things that you can pay somebody else to do.
Here's the other thing, and this is a friend of mine, we used to joke about this all the time. Yeah. And it was from a training series that we listened to from Brian Tracy. Yeah. And he talked about 80-20 selling.
80-20. That's my whole training mentality is 80-20. So I really want to hear that.
Yeah, so 80-20 selling is, doing the core 20% gets you 80% of the results. And he talks about the reason why we know we should do that. We all know. You know that. We all know we should do it.
Right.
The problem is usually the 80-20 is scary, because the 20% makes the biggest impact is most likely the stuff that gets you potential rejection.
Right.
Therefore, you don't do it.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's why with salespeople, his joke used to be, salespeople spend too much time shuffling their business cards and making sure their flyers are
Right.
perfect and making sure the computer's working, versus actually just going face to face with potential customers to
Right.
sell them.
Yeah, how often do you see that the best salesmen are a little bit more disorganized, but they're like not in their thought processes?
Yep.
Versus somebody that's like super organized, but then they get in front of somebody and they're like,
exactly. So I do think there's a personality trait too, where it's like, sometimes if you are disorganized, it also can mean that you're able to think quick on your feet, versus someone who's overly organized, needs everything to be perfect before execution is made.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so there's pros and cons to both.
Right. There's a fine balance. What I've found is if you are more that quick on your feet, you can remember the whole sales process and really help people get through it. You can find people in your life that help you be organized, right? And those are a lot of those $10 to $15 an hour tasks.
And I'm always looking for more of those because I could use some more organizational help.
Right, and that's me too. I'm always like, I need another intern.
Yeah.
I just had 2 of them email me this last week, so I've got 2 prospective interns on.
Oh, perfect.
So that like using interns from local school, universities and other things, super, super helpful. So that's a great way to help you systematize, and then you can always hire those that really stand out.
So there's a good book, and now I'm gonna like chop the name up.
Yeah.
But I believe it's called Scaling,
Mm-hmm.
it's either called Scale or Scaling, and it has green bars and it's scaling up, right?
Yeah.
And in that book, it basically goes pretty much in depth. Almost like the E-Myth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever read that, but
I haven't read E-Myth.
Those 2 books are really. The other book that's good too is Built to Sell, which those are books that teach you how to. The word scale is probably like abused, right?
Right. Oh, totally.
Basically, what that means is how to do more with less. That's really what that means, right? Because it's like. If you're looking to scale a business or sales, what you're really saying is not, how do I work 24 hours a day?
Right.
What you're really saying is, how do I work a little bit less and make more money?
Right.
How do I make it possible to like get more leverage?
Right. To become more efficient at doing the same thing for more people, right?
And so what those books go over is, and obviously it's not this simple, but in its simplest form, it's documenting your entire process. If you have it documented, then technically it means you can show it to someone else and educate them on what that is. For example, this program. This is going to be a sales tool, a sales manual for you guys to use.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a way to get our sales strategies out in the field with people from all over the world to sell it while we're not there.
Right. Oh, it's super key. A funny thing along those lines. So one of my last interns, I was like, I don't want to go through the process of retraining my next set of interns. So I said, okay, your final task is to make videos of everything that you've done. And so think of every task, and I want you to make a video on how to do that task. And so now my next round of interns will be trained by my last set of interns.
Exactly. Which is actually the smartest way to do it.
Yeah, well, it takes away a whole step for me, so I can refine those processes rather than start at the very beginning of this is a mouse.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is,
So then what you're doing is systematizing your hiring process.
Yeah.
So every part of the business is a system. So you just have to go, here's sales, here's marketing, here's this, here's that. Document it all. And this is what all those books talk about. And then you document it all, you have it in a file, and that's how you're going to be able to, because it also offers more clarity. By documenting, you'll know what you're looking for, what you're going to say in your meetings, things like that.
And if there are problems, you can always go back to it and be like, this is the way I trained you, and this is what is expected. So
and if something's breaking down, you could look at it, see, and you actually remind me of another point, which is you won't take results or performance personally. But if you look at things more from a process,
I love that.
Process oriented, means if something bad is happening or not happening the way you want it, it's usually more of a process issue more than anything. Yeah,
you go back and review your systems and saying what isn't being done, because this used to work. What part of our process isn't happening?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so
love it.
making systems is huge, and it helps you. It gives you more clarity of you're clear with what you're trying to do, what your objectives are, what you're actually managing, what you're going to say to train, et cetera, et cetera. So
awesome.
Making systems is the number one thing. If I were anyone, I would start off with make your systems.
Yeah, build those in. I think you've got to have that customer journey mapped out, and then build those systems around that, right?
Yep.
So perfect. So once you have those systems in place, that's a key part of mastering the sale, right? Next, we're going to talk about how recurring sales can be a part of that system in mastering the sale.
Yep.
So that's our next module, or next part of this module. Check it out next.